There's a storm rolling low past the silos and the mill, lightning stitching up the sky like a lonesome quilter's will. Neon sputters open where the dust road meets the pines, and the tin-roof tavern rattles like a train on borrowed time. I shoulder through the door with a pocket full of yesterdays, boots chewing up the sawdust, fiddle waking in the haze. She's at the end of the counter, hair like summer wheat, a ring turned on her finger like it still remembers heat. The barkeep pours a memory into a cloudy jelly jar, says you look like thunder, son, and thunder doesn't get far. I nod toward the jukebox, punch a number with a sigh. Some Georgian, some forgiveness, both are in short supply. She looks up when the steel guitar starts crying through the rain, says I used to dance to this when love still knew my name. We talk about the hometowns we left and couldn't quit, about nights that learned to haunt us and the mornings that won't fit. Outside heaven's bowling alleys shake the gutter lanes, and the roof keeps time with lightning like a drummer off a chain. Some ranch hands fill the corner with a two-step made of smoke. A waitress with a tattooed sparrow smiles at every joke. She asks me why my hands are rough as parched December corn. I say I learned to hold on tight the day I was born. But holding's not the same as keeping. Wind can blow a promise thin, like a photograph that fades each time you pull it out again. There's thunder on a tin-roof tavern, and thunder in our bones. Two strangers swapping weather maps of hearts turned into stones. If lightning is a truth we see, and rain the lies we tell, then kiss me while the jukebox plays and drown the chapel bell. Her name is Carolina, though the map says it ain't so. Says she keeps it for the melody in places she won't go. She laughs like barn door swinging, like a screen door in July, but there's a tremble in her knuckles when she wipes her eye. I tell her I can fix things, fences, radios, and pride, but not the crack where love leaks out and leaves you high and dry. We talk of second chances like they're quarters for the songs, and feed them to the jukebox just to make the night feel long. The barkeep kills the neon, locks the register's old grin, says folks the road is swimming, better bed down here and win. We pull a quilt, a bar stool, talk across our worried years, and listen to the thunder hustle all our nagging fears. She leans into my shoulder like a porch light on a farm, makes a little country shelter out of weather and alarm. I touch the ring, she spins again, a ghost around her skin, and promise not to ask its tale or who it might have been. There's thunder on a tin-roof tavern, and thunder in our bones. Two strangers swapping weather maps of hearts turned into stones. If lightning is a truth we see and rain the lies we tell, then kiss me while the jukebox plays and drown the chapel bell. Maybe in the morning sun our names will sound the same, or we'll walk out different doorways with no witnesses to blame. But tonight the storms are quiet and the steel is singing true. If salvation has a bar stool, I'll slide one down to you. There's thunder on a tin-roof tavern and thunder in our bones. Let's lay our soaked confessions down like borrowed Sunday clothes. If lightning is a photograph of grace we almost held, hold me till the record ends and hush that chapel bell. Mama kept the sugar in a chip blue coffee can next to clover honey and a Polaroid of Dad. Said the old man caught a rain when he worked the graveyard shift, scooped Starlight off the miles and poured it into thrift. We learned to stretch a paycheck like a quilt across the floor, make supper out of nothing and a prayer for a little more. I'd sit upon the counter, swing my legs and hear her hum a hymn about horizons where the hard days come undone. When I turned 17, I packed that coffee can with dreams, a paper map, a razor, and a pocket full of schemes. Mama hugged me on the porch light, said go earn your shine, but don't forget the Starlight that your daddy left behind. I drove a buggin' Pontiac through counties cut with wire, chased a jukebox paycheck and a second-hand desire. I learned to lose politely, learned to laugh when nothing's funny, learned to love a girl named Mercy who ran off with Sunday money. Years came like boxcars rattling secrets to the night, and I kept that coffee can beside my songs in spite. Sometimes I'd shake it softly just to hear the future clink, like loose change in a sermon or a truth you shouldn't drink. One winter in Amarillo, breath and hope both froze. I pawned my coat for diesel and a blistered pair of shows. Played for 12 men and a waitress who wrote her name in steam. She said your voice sounds like a back road talking in its sleep. Starlight in a coffee can, saved from daddy's hands, a little shine for midnight miles, a little grace that stands when life turns off the porch light and the dark comes quick as plans. I shake the sky he gathered, Starlight in a coffee can. I went back home by August when the wheat was cutting gold. Mama's hair had silver stories she was too proud to have told. The porch swing knew my sorrow, the dog still knew my name, and the mailbox held a letter stamped by Mercy's old refrain. I poured the can on starlight nights to see what Dad had caught, just screws and nails and buttons, but it kept the hope I saw. 'Cause shine ain't in the metal, it's the keeping that you do. and how you hold a small thing till it grows enough for two. I fixed the roof and banister, I tuned the kitchen clock, I played the town on Saturdays with Jimmy and his flock. A girl named Grace, not Mercy, worked the pie case at the fair. She laughed like new-cut lumber, and she smelled like county air. I told her about the coffee can and all the miles it knew, how my daddy caught the firmament and left it here for you. We danced beneath the bleachers where the brass band hid the truth, kissed like kids who trust the dark 'cause they were taught by you. Starlight in a coffee can, saved from daddy's hands. A little shine for midnight miles, a little grace that stands when life turns off the porch light and the dark comes quick as plans. I shake the sky gathered, starlight in a coffee can. Maybe all the constellations are just names we give to hope, and all the heroes in our stories teach us different ways to cope. Maybe love's a coffee can with nothing bright inside, but it's brighter for the keeping and the hands that choose to try. Starlight in a coffee can, still shining where I am. We'll pass it down to smaller hands that reach like rivers ran. When porch lights flicker, don't be scared, we've got our little plan. We'll shake the sky that daddy saved, starlight in a coffee can. I found love in cellophane beside the register light, between road maps, beef jerky, and a scratch-off's lonely ride. A bucket of red roses, wilting brave at 10:30. The clerk said, buy 'em now or they'll never bloom again. I took 'em to your trailer where the wind harps on the vents. A table made of plywood, rent overdue by cents. You laughed at all that plastic and the splash of gasoline. Said, honey, I have kissed worse storms than flowers from a machine. We learned to live on coupons and the radio at dawn. Coffee brewed like pilgrim faith, the bitter marching on. Your mama called on Fridays just to count the ways we'd fail, but you'd braid your doubts with courage like you're weaving cotton veils. We hung those gas station roses in a mason jar of rain, a prayer for late bloom lovers who got started after pain. You pressed your cheek to mine and said they're perfect in this light, and I swore that every paycheck I'd buy us something right. Something right turned into overtime in pawn shops in July. A used ring with a history in the salesman's practice side. We married by a county judge who never looked up twice. Said husband, wife, and stamped it like he's pricing frozen ice. Your dress was thrift store satin, my suit was borrowed blue. But Lord, the way you trembled when we whispered I do. We toasted with a fountain coke and split a pecan pie, and drove back past the station where hope was learning how to try. Gas station roses, plastic stems and faith, blooming by the diesel pumps. Perfume made of grace, love don't ask for pedigree, it just wants a place. So put 'em in our window, let 'em Winter came with engine knocks and layoffs, splitting seams. We said our vows again out loud to keep from losing dreams. You took a night shift cleaning rooms at exits off the 5. I played guitar at diners where the tips were barely alive. On Valentine's I found a bud among the wrinkled leaves, still holding scarlet, stubborn like it practiced how to breathe. I bought a single lonesome rose for 99 in tax. You smiled like stained glass Sundays and you leaned against my back. We saved enough to move the trailer 2 more exits down, where neighbors learned your name and life cost 1 less frown. You planted real roses by the skirt and watered slow, whispered to the dirt about the courage seeds must know. By August, blooms were fireworks around our little door. Not fancy, but a witness to what patience is for. Still within the kitchen near the mason jar of rain, I kept a plastic blossom from that first fluorescent night refrain. Gas station roses, plastic stems and fate, blooming by the diesel pumps, perfume made of grace. Love don't ask for pedigree, it just wants a place. So put them in our window, let them face the days we face. Gas station roses, cheap and brave and true. In this world of running out, I'll run to you. Maybe love is cut from cheaper cloth, but wears it proud. A second-hand hallelujah sung too soft for crowds. If fortune is a florist, she can't keep the velvet boughs. We'll take our luck in cellophane and make it grow. Gas station roses, faded but they stayed through evictions over time, and all the plans delayed. A lifetime in a mason jar, a stubborn red parade in a world that sells you petals. We chose roots, we made gas station roses, plastic, brave and true. I'll keep on buying hope as long as it's you. Quarter in my pocket, like a promise not yet spent. Neon keeps its vigil where the good intentions went. I've been saving this last ticket since the summer she moved on. A number for a song that makes the clock forget it's wrong. The bartender is polishing the years off every glass. Pool balls break like thunderheads that never really pass. Old timers trade their stories like they're baseball cards of pain. And I'm a rookie with a memory that won't go play in rain. She loved the song at B-17, that crying steel and choir. Said it sounded like a sunrise lighting up a wire. We danced 100 Saturdays to lyrics carved in oak. She sang the harmony and I believed the jokes. But cities get their appetite for hearts they didn't plan. They swallowed her with promises and lit up rungs they grinned. I said I'd follow later when the harvest money came, but later turned to postcards and I learned I spelled her name. Now nights are quiet traffic in a one-horse barely town. I fix the fence, I feed the dog, I put the shutters down. But when the moon cuts silver out of black and puts it on, I hear her in the jukebox like the chorus still belongs. So I walk into Miller's, where the floor knows how I stand, and trade a nod for mercy with the band that isn't planned. I hold the ticket like a relic from a better church, afraid to spend its magic in a world that doesn't work. The last ticket at the jukebox, do I save it, do I play it? If the song begins without her, will it steal what's left of me? I keep a quarter like a candle for a love that moved away. The last ticket at the jukebox, do I save it? Do I play? A stranger takes the bar stool where she used to count the tips, a city on her shoulders and a prayer upon her lips. She asked me for the time like it could teach her how to stay. I point toward the jukebox like a messenger of clay. We talk about the weather like it's safer than the truth. She says she's not from nowhere, just ran out of proof. I say I've got a quarter that can turn a night around. She smiles like 20 questions and she says, let's buy a sound. We walk up to that jukebox like a courthouse with no judge. I show her B-17 and how the bridge can make you budge. She asks if I'm a gambler with a bet I've yet to lose. I say no, I'm just a farmer who forgot what not to choose. She slips her own coin in and picks a stranger's song instead, a waltz that feels like August when the wheat leaves kiss your head. We spin beside the bar stools and the smoke that smells like rain, and I remember what a heartbeat does when freed from chain. The last ticket at the jukebox, do I save it, do I play? If the song begins without her, will it steal what's left of me? I keep a quarter like a candle for a love that moved away. The last ticket at the jukebox, do I save it? Do I play? Maybe love's a little braver when you risk the sacred toil. Maybe grief's a stubborn tenant who forgets he signed to join. Maybe all we hoard is hurt until a melody says go, and all we keep is keeping us from learning how to grow. I spend the ticket at the jukebox, hear the steel, the choir rise, let the chorus wash the corners where I stockpiled long goodbyes. If a song can make a season slip its winter from the day. Then play it bartender. Let the old ghost find their way. Mama kept it on the dresser in a box of cedar wood. Said it smelled like diesel sweat and things a good man should. A cowboy hat with faded bands, one feather out of line. It fit his head like gospel, like the day he drew the line. He rode for 30 summers on a paint horse named Desire. Stacked hay under thunder clouds and bartered fence for fire. But one July the heart gave out beneath that heavy brim, and I was 12 and silent when the light went out on him. I used to sneak and wear it when the house was fast asleep. Pretend the world was open range and promises were cheap. The mirror made a drifter with his father's crooked grin. A boy too small for bootstraps, trying to fill the wind. Mama'd catch me standing there and hush the grief away. Say hats are just for weather, son, not for yesterday. But I'd see the way her fingers trace the brim like memory. Dust on Daddy's Stetson was a kind of rosary. Years went rolling like barbed wire through a restless county line. I tried the city living, but the dust was still mine. The hat came in a moving box with some old roto pins. A note said keep it handy for the day the trail begins. So I hung it by the doorway where the sunlight never quiet. And every time I leave it nods like, son, get it right. But right's a tricky compass when you're older than your youth, and all you've got for guidance is a hat that smells like truth. There's dust on Daddy's Stetson, and time in every crease, sweating prayers and county fairs, a smell of sweet release. He wore it like a halo made of work and wild belief. There's dust on Daddy's Stetson, but it don't feel like grief. My boy turned 8 last winter, asked about that cowboy hat. Said, did Grandpa fight the outlaws? Did he wrestle down a cat? I laughed until the tears came like the rain that blesses dirt. Said, no son, he just worked hard and never feared the hurt. He asked if he could wear it for his schoolyard cowboy play. So I brushed it off and crowned him in that fading western gray. The brim bent down a little like it recognized the line between a father and a son, and every word of time. Now every night before I turn the porch light dim and low, I see that Stetson hanging where the Mississippi blows. The dust don't look like sorrow now, it glows in evening sun, like miles we never wasted and the men we've both become. And sometimes when I wear it, I swear the band still hums with echoes of his laughter and the way the thunder drums. It's more than just a hat now, it's the weather of my kin. And every flake of dust is where the story's been. There's dust on Daddy's Stetson, and time in every crease, sweating prayers and county fairs, the smell of sweet release. He wore it like a halo made of work and wild belief. There's dust on Daddy's Stetson, but it don't feel like grief. When my boy grows old and tired of chasing what I've chased, he'll find that Stetson waiting where our dreams were never waste. And when he dusts it off and feels the years beneath his hand, he'll tip it toward the heavens, just the way we understand. There's dust on Daddy's Stetson, and hope beneath the brim. It's more than felt and feathered, it's the miles I got from him. If heaven's got a sunrise and a pasture deep and wide, then Daddy's riding somewhere, and that hat's still by his side.
Midnight on the strip where the jukebox is hung, a wrangler in a leather coat, his rodeo's long done. He traded dust for neon, spurs for cigarette glow, but his hands still twitch like they're lassoing a ghost. The city don't remember what the prairie used to mean, but he ropes his drinks with rhythm under pink and tangerine. They call him Cowboy Vinyl, 'cause he spends his life on scratch. Old George Strait on the speakers, and regret that doesn't match. He met a girl named Dixie who could dance like fire on steel. She wore rhinestones in her heartbreak and boots that knew the feel. They'd slow spin under neon signs that spelled out open late. Two lost saints on a barroom floor, still trusting twist and fate. But mornings come with hangovers and city dreams are in, and promises are IOUs that mercy never sent. She left him for a drummer with a truck and record deal, and he swore he'd never dance again, but neon makes you heal. Now he's back each Friday evening when the moon gets drunk on chrome, rides the rhythm like it's Bronco time, the floorboards call him home. He says love ain't for the lucky, it's for fools that don't get tired, and lassos empty bar stools like the ghost he once admired. The bartender knows better than to ask him why he stays, just wipes the glasses clean and lets the jukebox play its praise. 1,000 blinking colors make a rodeo of sin, and he's a cowboy in a cage of light who'll never rope again. He's swinging that neon Lariat, roping stars that won't sit still, chasing down a wild regret he can't quite rope or kill. Every loop's a promise, every spark a scar. Neon Lariat, he's still roping who they are. Dixie walks back in one night, her hair a different flame. She She's older now, but softer, says she hates that city's game. They dance without the talking, let the silence steer the spin. And somewhere in the mirror, he sees who they've both been. When the music dies, she whispers, you still rope the stars alright, and leaves before the dawn can pull the magic from the night. He tips his hat toward heaven, or maybe just the door, then drinks to what the Lariat caught and what it's reaching for. The crowd thins out, the lights hum low, he hums an old refrain. A cowboy's job is chasing wind and learning not to blame. He hangs his heart on a bar light hook, takes one last steady shot, says it loves a rodeo, I reckon this is what I got. Outside the rain's electric like the chords of Amarillo sky. He grins beneath that sage glow like lightning won't deny. A rope made out of color swings through his steady hand. Neon Lariat still burning for the ones who understand. He's swinging that neon Lariat, roping stars that won't sit still, chasing down a wild regret he can't quite rope or kill. Every loop's a promise, every spark a scar. Neon Lariat, he's still roping who they are. You can take the man from the saddle, but you can't break the ride inside. You can dim the dance hall lights, but the rope still burns with pride. He's swinging that neon Lariat under signs that hum and fade, roping down the memories that neon ever made. Love and loss, a two-step fight, he's the glow against the night. Neon Lariat, still shining for the ride.
The sheriff found the tire tracks by the edge of County 9, a lipstick print on a whiskey glass and silence in the pines. The preacher's son was missing, the town was full of talk, and I was planting flowers by the river where we'd walk.
She wore a denim jacket with my name stitched in the sleeve. Said if they ask, you never saw me, and you better believe.
Her hands were shaking wildflowers, petals cut by fear, blue bonnets growing guilty where the law was drawing near.
I told her, darling, tell me, was it worth the run you made?
She said, freedom's just a secret that the hunted can't evade.
I packed a rusted cooler, filled it halfway up with lies, and we drove past signs for mercy under Texas amber skies.
She cried inside her denim like it knew the wrong she'd done. But love's a fool's defense when the jury's got a gun.
So we pulled up by the sin, and the bluebonnets were glowing like a truth we'd buried thin.
She kissed me once for courage, and she handed me her ring. Said, tell him I was dreaming, tell him you don't know a thing.
The sirens came like locusts through the valley's burning air, and I swore to every angel that I'd never place her there.
Lawmen found the footprints, found the jacket, found the clues. Love's a better liar than the alibis we choose. They took her in at sunrise, but I never said goodbye. Just watched the flowers shimmer with the color she denied.
Bluebonnet Alibi, blooming where she lied. A field of Texas promises that never quite died.
Love don't care for verdicts or the truth men buy. So I pray where she was captured, Bluebonnet Alibi. 3 years passed like tumbleweed. The county paved the road. They built a park where we once hid, where innocence had flowed.
She wrote me from the women's ward, said I'll serve my time in peace. But if you see those flowers bloom, don't mourn, it's my release.
I visited one April with a Bible and a song. The blooms were blue as heaven, and the air was full of wrong.
I sang into the sunrise just to see if she could hear.
And the wind came down the canyon like her whisper in my ear. Now every year the river drowns the past beneath its tide, and the bluebonnets still gather where her stories coincide.
They say the preacher's boy came home, said he ran off in shame.
And she never was a killer, just a woman with no name.
I still go there on Sundays with a flask and folded note.
Tell the flowers that I love her, though she never wrote.
If ghosts can find redemption,
I hope she's learned to fly over fields still confessing. Bluebonnet Alibi.
Bluebonnet Alibi, blooming where she lied. A field of Texas promises that never quite died.
Love don't care for verdicts or the truth men buy. So I pray where she was captured, Bluebonnet Alibi.
Maybe heaven ain't for spotless souls, but for the ones who try. So lay her down where wild things grow under that bluebonnet sky.
Bluebonnet Alibi. Forgive her by and by. If the truth is just a flower, then it's learning how to die. Love will bloom forever, though the good folks sigh. Amen to every sinner's Bluebonnet Alibi.
like engines down behind the county store. The grain dust drifts like incense where my daddy prayed before. He'd stand up on that elevator, hat against the wind, counting every bushel like confession of his sin. Boy, he'd say you don't find God in gold or shiny plains. You find him in the calluses of weather-beaten hands. I'd watch the wheat pour endless as the choir of summer rain, and learn the kind of gospel only word can explain. When I turned 17, I swore I'd chase a city light, sold my boots for gasoline, kissed mama that last night. Said I'd never spend a lifetime watching grain fall slow, but every dream I bought in town was something I let go. I missed the smell of diesel, missed the dogs along the rails, missed the sound of steel and thunder where the prayer exhales. So I came back broken, but the ground still knew my name, and the silo shadow blessed me like it never cast a blame. Now I run that same old elevator, rusted but alive, fix the belts, the pulleys, and the ghosts that still arrive. Every farmer brings his stories, every load's a prayer, some for rain, some for mercy, all for someone there. We weigh their harvest, hand them checks, but trade in something more. A handshake full of gratitude this world's forgotten for. And when the sun burns down behind the silver field and dust, I climb up to that rooftop where I learn again to trust. Grain elevator gospel, the hymns of grit and steel, the Bible written daily by the hands that never kneel. You won't find gold leaf pages, just a ledger and a sky, but I hear heaven's chorus in the wheat trucks rolling by. There's a girl at church named Rosie who brings coffee to the men. Her daddy worked beside mine back in 1980-10. She says I smell like harvest, says I talk like county faith, and laughs about my manners like they're born of bailing grace. We walk the grain bins evenings when the wind smells like bread. She hums the same old gospel lines that Daddy always said. I tell her I've got nothing but this ground beneath my care. She says, boy, that's everything, just keep the good Lord there. When Sunday bells start ringing and the town comes clean and slow, I stay in all the belts again, the only church I know. I whisper out the verses Dad would speak when storms would grow. The Lord's the seed, the sower, and the reaper, boy, you sow. The trucks roll in, the mirrors flash like hallelujah shine, and in each man's quiet nod I see the face divine. If grace is found in labor, then salvation's in the climb, and the grain keeps rising steady like forgiveness over time. Grain elevator gospel, the hymns of grit and steel, the Bible written daily by the hands that never kneel. You won't find gold leaf pages, just a ledger and a sky, but I hear heaven's chorus and the wheat trucks rolling by. that the dark will feed the dawn. Every scar a sermon on the worth of moving on. Grain elevator gospel, keep ringing through the plains. Your psalms are rusting diesel, your choir's in the grain. I'll preach from steel and harvest dust until the day I die. This town don't need a preacher, we've got heaven in the sky.
Left your boots by the porch again, dust from last July. Said you'd only ride to town just to smoke and wave goodbye. The wind came through the shutters, singing sharp and thin, like a fiddle string too tight for the song you're trapped within. I sat there by the window, watched your taillights bleed away, and the barbed wire fence out yonder hummed the words I couldn't say. Love can cut like boundary lines, it can hold and it can bind, and I keep bleeding letters that your heart won't sign. You were born with spurs for heels, and I was built for ground. You always chased horizons that refused to stick around, but we met beneath a thunder moon when storms and hearts collide, and every kiss was lightning that the dark could never hide. You said forever's just a lasso, tied until it snaps, but I kept holding tighter while you vanished through the gaps. Now the wind brings whispers through the fence post twine, sweet and cruel and tangled, my barbed wire Valentine. The postman still delivers letters I don't read, from friends who say they saw you where the desert swallows seed. They say you work the oil rig singing bars in Santa Fe, trade the truth for whiskey songs and try to find your way. I keep a picture by the stove where your hat hangs like a ghost, and talk to it on quiet nights about the thing I miss the most. Not your arms or laughter or the road you left behind, but how it hurts so pretty, my barbed wire Valentine. Barbed wire Valentine, love that holds in tears, wrapped around a heart like mine, never quite repairs. Rust and roses intertwined, a beauty made of pain, my barbed wire Valentine, still singing in the rain. I saw you once in autumn at the fairground by the gate. You smiled like old redemption that arrived a day too late. We danced one slow last number to a jukebox Conway tune, and the air was full of promise like a faded honeymoon. You said you'd settle maybe, you said you'd try to stay, but I could see the saddle shadows stealing you away. So I kissed your name goodbye before you left my line, and watched you fade forever, my barbed wire Valentine. The years of rusted fences and my hair's gone silver gray,
but I still mend that same old wire each and every day. There's beauty in the keeping, there's mercy in the mend, and some loves are the lessons that refuse to find their end. I hum your favorite song when the crows all circle wide, and the setting sun reminds me how your fire never died. So if heaven has a pasture where lost hearts intertwine, I hope you'll meet me smiling, my barbed wire Valentine. Barbed wire Valentine, love that holds in tears, wrapped around a heart like mine never quite repairs. Rust and roses intertwine, a beauty made of pain, my barbed wire Valentine, still singing in the rain. Love ain't soft or gentle, it's forged in weather's flame. You can't hold it without bleeding, but you hold it just the same. Barbed wire Valentine, you were cruel and kind, cut me deep but left behind the strength I had to find. Rust and roses intertwine, and memories might change. My barbed wire Valentine, forever in my vein.
We said I do beneath the Texaco sign, gas pumps buzzing sky like cheap red wine. Her veil caught diesel fumes, my boots kicked dust, and the preacher read from Psalms in the back of his truck. We couldn't afford a chapel, we had a Friday moon, a fiddle on the radio, and hearts out of tune. The guests were just the night bugs and the hum of neon sand. That was our first encore, our two-lane wedding band. We honeymooned in diners with coffee for champagne. The jukebox choir sang our vows again. Her ring was from a pawn shop on Route 43, but it shone like heaven when she looked at me. We danced between the headlights of an old beat-up Ford. The dashboard blinked like angels we could just afford. And though the road was gravel, her hand fit mine just grand. Life began its music with a two-lane wedding band. The years came loud with thunder, and the miles began to show. But every fight was weather that helped the garden grow. Kids and bills and overtime made a rhythm out of need, but love kept time like bass drums and the hum of good old. We lost her daddy in a flood, my brother in a storm, and still we danced through funerals, trying to stay warm. Every joy and heartbreak had the same one stand, and she'd whisper, baby, play it, our two-lane wedding band. Two-lane wedding band.